The city of Indianapolis is famous in the world of motorsports for the monolithic oval and the aptly named City Speedway nearby, but its motorsports roots run even deeper than that. Someday, most racers hope to do battle at IMS, but many will start their career on America's short tracks like IRP. The 0.7 of a mile oval is a fraction of the size and scale of the Brickyard, but to build a legacy brick by brick, you have to have a strong foundation, and those are built at short tracks like this one. Hi everyone, welcome to Sim TV. I'm Kyle Heyer, joined by Connor Horn tonight for our 11th round of the Area Truck Series season. Connor, we go back to short track racing, 150 laps at the 0.7 of a mile oval. Well, we'll work our way tonight. We are running in the day, and that might pose an interesting challenge on a slick and hot racetrack where the high line is sometimes the place to be.
It's almost always the place to be. Unless the tires are out, it's hard to get past someone on the bottom. It's going to be a lot of work to get by someone here today, especially with the track getting the sun beating down on this racetrack. High track time, something we didn't see last season when the Pro Series was here, so it should get interesting. We're going to see maybe a little bit of a different style of racing this season.
Yeah, we'll get into points here in a couple of minutes' time, but I think the big challenge for everyone is making it into the playoffs. And Connor, as you look at the season, we've got Talladega next week. That is our cutoff race, and that is the last opportunity for drivers to forge their way forward and make it into the playoffs. And you don't want to save it to Talladega, and maybe you don't control your destiny at a short track always. But I think tonight you're going to control your destiny a whole lot better than you might next week at Talladega.
Yeah, that kind of took me by surprise. But yeah, you're definitely going to be able to have more control this week. Well, Talladega, yeah, it's pretty much the wild card. It is the wild card of a playoff cutoff of any sorts. And you do not want to leave it up to chance at a track like that, because it really is all chance with the big one looming. And who knows where you're going to be near the final restart, near the final moments. This is where you can really, mark your claim and really try to get something going here. If you can have a good run here, even sneak a win here, this is where you want to do it. You do not want to wait for a track as wild and as unpredictable as Talladega to try to make your way into the playoffs.
And here's a look at the points coming into this 11th round, the penultimate run in the regular season championship. James Scioli at the top of the board, 4 wins on his season. Everyone else just has 1, but it makes that cut line very interesting. Eric Wineland, Justin Munsell, Michael Curhan, all drivers we see up front in most of the championships, running below the cut line heading into Talladega. So Mason Kane, Garrett Grant, Bryce Senesac, they're in, but not comfortable by any means.
Oh, James Scioli at the top of the playoff standings. Where have I seen that before? I think every other series, actually. But, yeah, this is where you're going to really want to try to get a good shift in points. If you can't win, you need to get above that cut line a little more. Guys like Kane, Grant, Senesac, they're going to be really pressured to widen that gap a little bit. And for the guys under, like Munsell, Curhan, Danny Ware, and everyone under, you're trying to shorten that gap so maybe you have a chance to point in instead of having to rely on a win like the guys like Shane Therian and Ryan Swan will most likely have to. Even JT Poole back there.
So heading back down into practice, looking at the drivers that are up top, Cameron Hearn is currently the fastest driver in practice, and as far as Cameron's run so far this season, currently scored 18th. He is one of those drivers that could use a win to get himself in. And he's been quick here in the past. Travis Beckner, of course, already on this season has a win to his name. That win came early in the season back at Iowa. Not that dissimilar of a track. This is probably more true short track than Iowa is, but Iowa drives like a speedway and a short track combined. So maybe Beckner is a driver to keep our eyes on, but Mason Kane and Alan Elwood, both drivers that are kind of down the standings a little bit. Elwood's got no win, so he's not secure. Mason Kane is one of those drivers just on the upper edge of that cut line.
And by the way, Cameron Hearn is in. He does have a win. He won
yes,
at North Wilkesboro, but he is, like you said, he's 18th in points. If he has 2 bad races, he drops out of a top 20. It's all for nothing, and he is only 4 points ahead of that top 20 cut line. Justin Anisogak, he won at Daytona. He actually won 2 or 3 at Daytona. He hasn't really done much since, and he has slipped to 17th in standings, while he's got about a 15-point gap to Shane Therian in 20th. Those are 2 guys who have wins to automatically get you into the playoffs, but you cannot lay off. You need to have good runs. You do not want to fall out on points. That would be very brutal if you win and don't get in.
So not a huge field tonight, Connor. We noted just over 20 entrants, 150 laps around here at IRP. That means that you can be pretty aggressive, and you're not going to drop down to 30th or 40th or anything of the sort. So you can be pretty aggressive, but it also means that qualifying might not be as important, but passing here is so challenging that if we get long green flag runs, Connor, you're going to have a hard time moving forward because everyone's going to shift to that upper group. So how much effort or how much attention have you paid to getting your single lap pace that you can nail qualifying?
I would say you're practicing it the entire. You'd probably do one long run during practice, but everything else is hot laps, trying to see what line's the fastest for a hot lap and seeing how hard you can push out of the corners. You need to qualify well here. It's way too hard to pass. It usually takes until the tires wear out for people to make passes, and even when you've saved your tires and other people haven't, it's still going to be hard to pass them because they could just run the wall and get you on exit, and you're not going to be able to get by them unless you get physical. The new damage model might be different. We might be able to get physical instead of having netcode crashes. You can really use your door on someone if you have to, but you don't really want to have to rely on that and make enemies right before the playoffs.
Mason Kane, top of the board. David Weishart in second. Justin Munsell jumps up to second place. Brad Slaughter Jr. is rolling on the track, and James Scioli is as well. Braden Goddard, JT Poole, and many more. JT Poole has had a lot of good luck in the Cup Series so far this season. As far as his run this season in this particular championship, 3 top 5s and 5 top 10s. Not a bad season, but he's mired down the standings in 16th place. I think he can do a little better, and I think we'll see him be up towards the front tonight.
A lot of that has to do, he's missed 3 races, so while he does have the top 5s and top 10s, just the issue of showing up is really why he's down the order, so he definitely has speed to try to get into the playoffs, but he's going to have to get going here, so he's going to stop on the track. Don't believe he put a time down. You do get 2 laps tonight, under a mile, so 2 laps, so he will have another go at it, I believe. Cameron Hearn on his lap. See if he tapped the wall there. That's going to put him... See, that put him. I think he did tap the wall. No, it did count. He went to second with that was his second lap, so that's a solid lap there.
And JT Poole setting up for another run. Didn't record one on lap 1. He's going to have one more opportunity to lay one down. I'm keeping my eye also on Eric Wineland, who is not yet taking to the racetrack. That should be interesting to see where he lands. Michael Curhan is also on track. Curhan is one of the drivers that we do have an in-car of tonight. There he is, working his way. No message for us tonight. I think that's a Monday night thing, but getting the Physicus Motorsports Ford F-150 tacked up for a run here in qualifying. See him working the wheel there, Connor. Is that put any temperature in the tires, or is that just a comfortability thing?
I think it's just a comfortability thing. I don't think you're really going to try to weave to get the tires heated up at a track like IRP. You really do that at the mile and up tracks, but we'll see if it makes any difference. You can see him riding that high line, maybe 1.5 grooves off that outside wall, but driver's going to inch closer and closer to it as this race goes on. Really turn down the corner on the exit of 4, though, to get a really good run through it all. As he put down to 22.34. He's 4th, trying to go after it again. You can see he's really trying to get to the bottom out of these corners to get great runs as Eric Wineland finally gets on track.
Another driver that we've gotten on board of tonight, he as well as Justin Munsell. So 3 drivers carrying on boards, and Wineland pulls off and, see his camera there, but it looks like he did lose internet for a moment as he had kind of disappeared. So he'll have to try that one again as Bronson Stafford takes the green flag of the number 61 Toyota Tundra TRD Pro. Kicks off his qualifying effort.
He's one of those trying to look for a little bit of a turnaround. He's 31st in points, so definitely hasn't been the season he's been looking for, but trying to salvage something out of this. He gets as close to the wall as we've seen anyone. Right up against those pink safer barriers, which are oddly pink, as comes across the line 22.824, around maybe 14th.
And that could be the lap I think he was looking for. Eric Wineland did get stopped before he took the green, so he'll get both of his fast laps as Stafford sends his truck off into turn 3 and 4, but gets sideways and is going to end up in the wall as well. As here comes Eric Wineland again, 3rd time's a charm, maybe.
Sure hope. Trying to look at the times. Not really close. We've seen a lot of times throughout the season in area, times are really close. Not too close. About 3/10 separating the top 10. Speaking of top 10, look who's down in 10th. James Scioli only at 10th. I say only because we're used to seeing him top 5, but definitely not where he wanted to qualify.
Wineland kind of shifting up the track, but taking a pretty low line here. Is there a difference between the line that you'd want to run in qualifying and the line that you'd race in? I feel like you'd expect both your race line and your qualifying line to be up top if that's where the speed is, but Wineland kind of middle to bottom there in 1 and 2.
To be honest, if I'm not having to race someone, if I have no one pressuring me and I'm pressuring no one else, I'm usually running that lower line just to keep the tires in a better spot. I don't really want to be against a wall, because if you get stuck against a wall, you're going to lose a lot of time. So don't really want to have to, you don't want to really hunt into a corner too harshly, because you'll really ruin the right front and right rear by charging the corners too much. So I like taking shallow when I'm on my own. So maybe that's what Weiland's thinking about.
Well, P6, 22.365, not a bad lap at all. AJ Roderick into turn 3 in the number 56 Chevrolet. 17 drivers have laid down times. He will be driver number 18 and a 22.643. That's lap 1. We've seen a lot of pickup on lap number 2, though, Connor. Maybe tire related, but that second,
no.
Not that one.
Oh, not the nose. Ow.
Dane Therian working lap number 1 way up against that outside wall. And probably lap 2 will be the fast one.
I think he might have been just trying to get a better run out of 4 for his second lap, because lap 1 did not count. He really charged the entry that time as well. So he'll come into turn 3. He goes for a little lower entry, really the middle line there, as he comes all the way up to the wall again. So clearly charging entry hard and going all the way up to the wall, and then charging hard on exit as well. See if that works. 22.439 puts him 10th. It's all right.
Not a bad run. And with 3 minutes left, Justin Anasogak, Alan Elwood, and Braden Goddard yet to run. But those laps are pretty short, so as far as getting your lap in, you still got a couple opportunities to do that. So talking points tonight, passing up top, that's your challenge. Track conditions, the track rubbering in, that will be a topic of discussion as well. Let's talk pit road entry and exit. Should we get green flag pit stops? You're entering pit lane at the bottom left of your screen there, the turn 3 entry. The pit exit, though, Connor, it is so easy to get yourself a penalty leaving here, because you cannot leave that apron until you get to the backstretch where that blue cone is. I've seen so many times drivers blowing that blend line and giving themselves a penalty.
Yeah, it's definitely reminds me of like North Brooksville used to have a blue cone on iRacing, and it was impossible. It kind of feels like that. Same thing for Five Flags, but IRP is one of those tracks in iRacing which is still kind of tough to get off a pit road, because you literally only have a truck width to be able to do it. You cannot go over that line whatsoever. You put 3/4 of your right sides over that line, it's a penalty. So you really have to be safe. If we do get green flag pit stops, you're really not going to be pushing the issue at all, because most likely you're going to be going laps down depending on when you pit, so you can't afford any mistakes. Your race is going to be over if you make a mistake.
Well, Alan Elwood took a run at it, went back to pit lane. He's going to try again in the number 10. One of the drivers that does not yet have a win, but his season has been pretty solid. 5 top 5, 6 top 10s. 31 points back from Scioli as far as the regular season championship goes, but I don't see much of a reason to care much about those points as long as you're in the conversation, because they get reset in a week after their completion of Talladega.
Yeah, all you can do is really get yourself maybe some bonus points with some wins, and that's surely what Elwood's going to do, because he's pretty safe as far as the cut line goes. Not much concern for him as he goes through the middle of the track entering 3. Similar line that everyone's used, even Wineland after he ran the bottom. See what type of lap he puts down as close to the wall as he can be. A 22.346 puts him 5th, and he'll try to better that here.
Yeah, well, P5 on lap 1. Will it be faster on lap 2?
You can see the rear of the car wiggling, rear of the truck. He's really trying to push the issue.
Too much.
Yeah, he pushed the issue.
And we've seen that a bunch of times in qualifying, drivers on that second lap pushing 3 and 4, and it just has not paid off in the same way that they like it to. Another look here at the playoff picture. Alan Elwood, P5 in the qualifying session, and as far as the championship goes, Elwood down in 9th on the seed board there.
Yeah, but 30 points above the cut should be okay, barring any crazy bad races tonight and at Talladega. It's definitely possible at Dega, but IRP, especially with a smaller field count than we'll likely see at Talladega, he can definitely control his own destiny more here. Also, Tom Bourne in 8th. He was the series points leader before Mosport last week. Another ode to his quietly strong season.
Yeah, just having a pretty solid round as well, or season as well. Checkered flag here in qualifying, and in just a moment we'll bring you your Roasted Gems Coffee starting lineup. But before we get there, race fans, be sure to subscribe to the Area iRacing Twitch channel. For only $5 a month, you can watch all area broadcasts commercial-free. You can also use new Area iRacing emotes in the chat, and you'll also earn double channel points as a subscriber that you can use to redeem for free merchandise. But it means you got to watch at twitch.tv/Area iRacing. And race fans, start your engines with a fresh cup of Roasted Gems Coffee. Choose from some of the finest coffee beans from Colombia and Peru, or try the blended flavors of French vanilla and hazelnut. Use discount code Area iRacing for 10% off your order at checkout at roastedgems.com. So we talked about the slightly smaller grid tonight, just over 20 trucks. The aggression level, will that step up a handful of levels when you consider that there's not as much drama to be had if you have a bad night? You're only going to fall back as far as about 23rd place. So does that amp up the aggression level, or maybe tone it back because we don't have as many trucks?
I feel like it's going to tone it back in a sense where I don't think we're going to see as much chaos, but I also think drivers themselves are going to take more chances with certain moves and making contact. And I still think the new damage model being on these trucks is going to make a little bit of a difference for these drivers as well. You're going to be able to bump someone out of the way and not really worry about them getting destroyed. And if you're on it trying to move someone up the track, especially on a track like IRP, this is one of the tracks where you kind of have to use your right side door to make a pass at points. So I think we're going to see a lot of drivers using that as well. Something we saw last season. It's so hard to pass. Travis Beckner won last season. He led all but 11 laps. So I think you're going to have to be physical to make passes. But I think the overall chaos and aggressiveness of the race producing yellows, I don't think we'll really see as much.
Well, it'll be just a moment from now, 150 laps to do battle here in the Area Truck Series. We look ahead to the rest of the season and the schedule. And from here on out, the schedules mirror each other from Talladega next week to Chicagoland, except for Phoenix replacing Auto Club for the Truck Series. And it's Las Vegas, Gateway, and Homestead. Well, that's where we'll finish all of our championships. So this is the only schedule that differs at all. We go to Gateway instead of Richmond and Phoenix instead of Auto Club. But we start with Chicagoland. We finish with Homestead. We both visit Las Vegas. All three visit Las Vegas. So that's something to keep on our docket, is you can learn some things on Monday that you can apply to Tuesday and Thursday. And if you're a guy like James Scioli involved in all of the championships, there's definitely things to learn.
Yeah, he's been the biggest benefit of running all three series, really. He has over a dozen wins in all three series combined. He's, I believe, leading every playoff bracket in every series after his win at Indy last night. And it's just, it shows how much track time matters, even in sim racing. If you have more track time, you just have a better idea of what the track's going to do and what tires are going to do and what strategy to use and all that. It's very important, and it's definitely propelling him to a shot at all three titles.
Yeah, waiting for our steward to get back in the server after an iRacing crash, going from qualifying to warm-up, so that's why we're hanging tight here for just a moment. Don't go anywhere as we get prepared for our 11th round of the Area Truck Series. It's been an interesting season so far. We just did our last road race of the season just a week ago or 2 weeks ago, and now with all eyes shifted to Talladega next week. I mentioned this last night, Connor. You don't want to have to go into Talladega needing to do anything. You want to have your season set, your regular season completely sorted out and be locked into those playoffs, whether it's mathematically on points or whether it's with a win, because if you have to do anything at Talladega, you just can't plan on having a plan. It all goes out the window the second that first yellow comes out and there's trucks tumbling all over the back straightaway.
Yeah, we're going to see that in every single series, including the Cup Series. I was thankful to win at Dover in the Cup Series earlier in the season. I'm set. I don't have to worry about Talladega. I have a teammate. He's 12 points out of 20th. He's going to need to win, and he can't have anything go wrong. He needs to be absolutely perfect, probably lead every lap and win. So it's a tale of two seasons, really. If you've been on it like Scioli or Alan Elwood, you're kind of comfortable. You don't really need to worry about doing too many crazy things at Talladega. If you're someone like Jeremy Miller in a Cup Series, or in this series, more relevantly, someone like Ryan Swan, who's down in 19th, he's thinking, oh gosh, I cannot plan on running in the back. I have to lead every lap. And you're going to see so many more aggressive drivers at the front of that race next week if we're seeing so many drivers having to win and in sort of scenario, which we're going to see a lot of drivers being desperate to try to win next week for sure.
All right, so time to grid and head down for our Roasted Gems Coffee starting lineup. Trucks are getting lined up And let's go through that starting lineup. Kicking things off on row number 1, it's going to be JT Poole with a pole run in that number 26. Mason Kane lines up on the outside of that front row.
In row number 2, Cameron Hearn, our winner at North Wilkesboro, and Michael Curhan alongside him started 4th.
In row number 3, it's Alan Elwood in the number 10, looking for a win and lock himself into the playoffs. Justin Munsell starts in 6th in the number 6.
Ford F-150 of Eric Weiland starts 7th, and alongside him is last season's winner here. He led all but 11 laps of this race, Travis Beckner.
And 9th place, David Weishart. Put on a good show last night at the Big Oval in Indianapolis. Finished 2nd in his hometown race. This race also a hometown race, not far away at all from David Weishart's home. Brad Slaughter Jr. starts 10th in row 5.
Shane Thurin qualified 11th after joining late, so solid start for him. He'll start 11th alongside Philip York.
13th place, James Scioli. He's locked in and by quite a bit. So his goal tonight, only just keep racking up those bonus points. Tom Bourne starts 14th in the number 16 truck.
Definitely surprising to see him in 13th, though. Starting 15th, Garrett Grant in the 42 F-150. He's looking for some points for sure, and AJ Roderick is going to look for a good run tonight. He starts 16th.
Josh Taylor starts 17th in the number 57 Chevrolet Silverado. Danny Ware, his bow tie, starts 18th in the number 49.
It's the area shop Toyota Tundra. It's Bronson Stafford starting 19th alongside the Matco Tools 54. It's the Silverado of Bobby Tinch.
And the final row, 21st and 22nd, Justin Anasogak in the number 88. Braden Goddard in the 38 starts in 22nd. All Chevy rear row. That is your Rosa Gems Coffee starting lineup. JT Poole is going to pace them behind the Ford Mustang pace car for a couple of laps, and we'll turn them loose. This race at 150 laps, if it goes green from start to finish with this 22 truck field, will be done in under an hour. It's how frantic it can be. We'll likely get some yellows along the way, but with only 22 trucks, it is possible that we do go green all the way, and that's something to consider. Likely a one-stop race, split it in half, Connor. That'd be my guess.
Yeah, 75 laps is going to be close on a full tank from my Road to Pro experience here, but you definitely can do it. Definitely going to be a stretch on the tires, but you really have no choice. You're not going to try to do a short pit at a track like IRP. You don't do that at short tracks because you risk losing a lap or two. So definitely it's going to be a situation if we do get a long green flag run, you're going to want to probably run the fuel to the very end because you do not want to be caught a lap down here.
So who do you pick? Who do you have winning this thing? I like JT Poole starting on pole. He's performed well. I think he's got it tonight, but who's your pick?
I like track position here. I'd pick Beckner after dominating last season, but I don't think you're going to be able to do it. It's going to be hard to do it from 8th. He won't dominate if he wins from there, but I'm going to go Michael Curhan. I think he's got speed, and I like him starting on the outside line. It's going to be the preferred line on the short run.
Michael Curhan in the 24, lined up alongside his teammate in the number 4, Cameron Hearn, All Physique is Motorsports row number 2. Pace car is going to make the left-hand turn onto pit lane. 150 laps, the penultimate race in the regular season for the Area Truck Series. Not at the Big Oval, but fighting for a chance to race in the big leagues. Here in the Truck Series, green flag is going to fly as they round turn 4 and get into the start zone. JT Poole, a very late start, and we are racing at IRP. We've raced here at the night in the past, and during the day the track's a little warmer and you'll be fighting for grip perhaps a bit more. Lap 1 complete, Poole leads. A lot of side-by-side throw, but this is going to get sorted out relatively quickly, I'd imagine.
I would think so. Bronson Stafford had a half spin, but he saved it. Kane's clear for 2nd after Hearn challenge. Then Elwood under Curhan. You can see how hard he's trying to fight on the bottom, but unless you can slide job him in the middle of the corner, you're likely not going to clear him on exit. That's how close it is.
The 8 of Brad Slaughter Jr. got in the outside wall at the exit of 2 just to scrape, and you're going to see a lot of that tonight. You just have to run the truck so close to the wall, especially out of turn 2. There's some natural drift to these trucks when you're...
spin, Roderick's around.
I was going to say there's some natural challenges with pulling a truck up off the corner. There's the yellow. When you're leaving the corner, the truck wants to drift. When you're on the outside lane, there's just not a lot of places for it to go. Our first issue of the night for the 56 of AJ Roderick, who started this race in 16th will fall to the tail of the field with this.
Standing where on the wall in the back, but just kind of the same thing we saw in qualifying, just loops it around and hit the concrete wall pretty hard.
And nosed in there on the Sim Rat Market replay, and you see that front end a bit amended, but I guess the challenge you'll have tonight with this new damage model, Connor, is maybe not the body damage, but any kind of suspension damage you get from side-to-side hits. We haven't seen the body damage be much of a big deal at all, but there's no safer barrier, no soft wall, none of that stuff here. If you hit, it's concrete.
Safer barriers on the outside of the walls, but that's about it. You're probably not going to nose in on the outside.
Right.
If you do, you're done.
Yeah.
So definitely, like you said, probably not going to worry about that physical damage too much. It's not going to hurt your speed at a track this small, 0.7 of a mile. But yeah, you got to watch the suspension damage, because you kind of toe out the right front, or really any of the front tires, the rear tires, you're going to have a tough night turning, because you have to turn the wheel really hard at a track like this with how flat it is. So if you're compromising that at all, you're going to be in a bad spot.
Justin Anasogak and Bronson Stafford taking the opportunity to come down pit lane, maybe just to top off on fuel, just 4 seconds in the box for each of those drivers. Everyone else stays on the racetrack. That's 19th place Braden Goddard and everybody above him on the ticker. JT Poole got off to a pretty strong start. And you mentioned track position being really advantageous. And everyone always asks, what do you mean by track position? Isn't that kind of the idea? Well, yes, but there are a lot of times when you can make a pit stop, be behind everyone, have a fresh set of tires, and just drive by everyone like they're standing still, and that's a good strategy call. But there are other tracks where you're not going to wear out the tires as much, and just having the advantageous position is going to be your advantage. You're not relying on tires or fuel strategy or anything else to get you there. You're just using your advantage up front to give yourself the best shot at a win, maybe not relying on those other things so much. So that's something to consider. Stay up front as long as you can. I don't think we'll see drivers pit before lap 75 unless we have a really long green flag run and get a caution around lap 50 or something. Then you'll probably want tires, but for now, I think you stay out.
Yeah, and this is a track where I think coming from 20th of a lead is really, really difficult. But if I was at a track like the older version of Atlanta, if I'm starting 20th, I'm pretty confident I can get to the top 10, top 5 because of how, if you save the tires right, tires wear hard there, you could probably pass people not saving them as well. This track, the tires wear, but the time fall off is what really doesn't show up at all. So that's why it's so hard to pass at a track like this.
JT Poole is your race leader, coming back to the green on the outside. Fire in the hole, and throws the throttle through the firewall, and off and away he goes. Curhan and Cameron Hearn, side-by-side teammates. Then Munsell, Elwood, still side-by-side in the rear view of those two trucks.
Curhan scraping the wall, trying to give Hearn as much room as he needs. But Hearn pretty strong on the inside of the track, trying to get clear up on the 24, almost squeezing him into a wall. He should have him, just needs to drive hard in the 1. But Curran's going to drive in trying to prevent that. He don't think he's going to be able to do that, though.
It's tight quarters here. You're really leaning on each other. Everyone's fighting for the same grooves, which are all up by that concrete wall. Tom Boren on the inside, that didn't qualify where we expected. He's had a really good season, but will have a lot of ground to make up tonight, starting in 14th spot. He's up 1, and more on the chopping block just ahead.
You see everyone on the bottom is either kind of going backwards or trying to make something happen, because top line's preferred here on the short run, but eventually when everyone's up there, it gets pretty stacked up. So where else can you go? Got to go under everyone, but if you get under everyone and you can't make moves, you're going to start going backwards if it doesn't stack up the way you're looking at it.
Eric Weiland on the outside, right in behind Justin Munsell. He's got the front bumper of his F-150 jammed under the TRD tailgate of Munsell. And to the outside of Travis Beckner, he's just trying to eke his way up there. Whoa, slide for Munsell, he's in the wall.
Turn 3 is so dangerous on entry. It really, any turn here is dangerous on the entry because of the flat. How flat it is, you can't fire it in too far or else you're gonna spin and probably hit the wall hard.
Yeah, here's another look at it from high above. Watch the 6, just drives in there, misses the turn in just a little bit, but just throws too much lateral at it and just kind of ends up walking up the hill into the outside fence. So he'll drop a couple spots. Weishart gets around, then Tom Bourne and Philip York side by side for 12th behind.
York had a big slide. Definitely a situation where you're glad you're in the truck and not the Xfinity car. Right side of Munsell's truck looks pretty okay compared to what it would be if it was an Xfinity car. So he'll be able to continue at least and maybe try to get back up there. But for now, he's outside the top 10.
Didn't we run a Florida State Builders Pro Series race here last season? I remember
Yes,
that
we
being
did.
real messy because those cars are big. They're big dimensional cars. And you just end up in the wall a lot with those things. They have a lot of body roll as well, so they're just kind of hard to control. They're kind of sloppy at low speed. But JT Poole, no slop from the 26 out front.
Oh, York hit the wall hard. Danny Ware gave him a tap, and Philip York, he slammed it out of turn 2.
Let's have a look at it. Here's the contact right there, and ooh, yeah.
Whoa.
And that's concrete, and I guess we'll see how the new damage model takes that. I can tell you, on the old damage model, that would be a pretty sizable impact, but I'm not really sure how these low-speed impacts feel with this new damage model just yet. I know the big incidents will certainly hurt, but the little ones maybe not quite as bad.
Yeah, we'll just have to see. It was at around 100 miles an hour, and I'm sure Philip York will remember that if he sees the 49 again, because that was a pretty hard tap out of the corner, but I think Danny Ware just misjudged it as battle for second heats up and maybe heating down as Mason Kane's going backwards and Cameron Hearn's coming forwards.
Yeah, good run there for Cameron, and here comes Michael Curhan into the mixture just behind his Elwood, but now Kane gets back to the outside, so the offense was on the bottom. Is the defense going to be there as well for the 4 of Cameron Hearn?
I don't think he's really focusing on defense on Mason Kane. I think he's fast enough where he can run the bottom and know he's going to drive away, and Mason Kane can't challenge him.
David Weishart sizing up Scioli. These two fought last night for the win at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Gave it to Scioli at the end of it. Here comes Curhan to the bottom of Kane. He seems like he's struggling in that 31.
Yeah, I think he's anticipating the top to come in, but it isn't happening, and he's trying to use it to defend, but even that's not working. Everyone's just having a better run through the center. Mason Kane can't really challenge at all, and everyone's lining up to try to get to the bottom of him. Elwood and Beckner a little bit ahead of Wineland, but these three are just trying to send the 31 to the back, but Elwood's up the track now.
Yeah, it's getting busy around these, that's for sure. There's Travis Beckner. 31 just touches the wall at the exit at 2. Now into 3, though. Throws it in there pretty deep. We've seen that be not advantageous tonight, to say the least.
Yeah, not at all. Luckily, he didn't send it too hard, but you could see when you get to a certain point and the guy on the inside wants to come up and he can't, you lose so much momentum on the bottom, and it sent Curhan backwards a full truck length, and Kane's going to be able to clear, and now all of a sudden Curhan's the one that's in trouble. What's
Beckner learning right now? He's going to school behind these two, figuring out which line is doing what and how attacking the corner might be a problem, but Philip York hits pit lane, Connor.
Wonder if he had too much damage to continue or what, because the truck itself looked fine. Maybe he's just calling it a night, because the truck looked fine from where I saw, but we'll see if he comes back out or not. This battle's still ongoing, and Curhan is now, instead of on the offensive, he's trying to be on the defensive, but you can't play much defense when someone's on your right side door.
And Beckner around the outside of Curhan. And Michael will have to give that up for now. Let's move Travis Beckner into the top 5. Mason Kane still holding up the train here.
You can see what it's doing to the race for the lead as Hearn's driven away already by about a second and a half as he's chased down JT Poole, but has kind of stayed about 0.4 of a second back. Mason Kane is holding up the pack right now.
Braden Goddard also coming to pit lane. There's the rest of the field leaving turn 2. Elwood putting pressure on Kane. He's taken a different line the last few corners, but it's just tough to make that bottom lane work as the run goes on. That upper groove is going to be more advantageous, and Kane defending well now.
I think sooner or later Mason Kane might try the bottom, but it's almost like it's too hard for him to get to the bottom. Like maybe he's thinking the rear's going to step out too much if he tries to turn it down to the bottom. As you can see Beckner wiggling, just getting down there himself, but he's very committed to his top line. It's hurting everyone else, but as soon as one driver gets by Mason Kane, you'd think it would lead a line of others to get by, but someone's got to be the first one to get there. Curhan couldn't do it. Now Elwood's trying.
Now when Beckner gets here, do you think he goes with the 31? Maybe to try to pass the 10 and then deal with the 31, or does he have to follow the 10, who's the one actively trying to pass Mason Kane?
Depends. Do you want to get to third place, or do you want to stay in fourth and have a shot at second place? It was Curhan, or it was Elwood last time who made the decision to pass Curhan and just go for third for the time being, and now Beckner's in the same situation, but there's no helping anyone here. It's really just which line you think is going to move better.
Well, neither is moving right now, and Beckner's likely getting impatient following these drivers as he sees Hearn and Poole pull away 2 seconds clear of third place now, and Beckner follows the 10 through as Elwood finally completes the pass on Kane.
Here comes Beckner. He's going to go for a slide job.
And he's got it.
That's how you do it. I'm sure Michael Curhan's sitting there like, oh, why didn't I think of that? But he's going to be, once again, the next in line to try to get this 31. He already saw 2 drivers do what he could, and now he's got to try to keep pace with those guys.
Yeah, Curhan had to kind of pinch the exit off here. Just a touch. See the wiggle. These trucks, grip limited on throttle. I mean, they're not as powerful as the Florida State Builders Pro Series cars are. They're not going to light up the rear tires all the time, but you can certainly step them out like Mason Kane is doing.
Yeah, that is not someone you want to be behind drifting like that. The rears are going to go away, and so that's really scary, especially when you see him sliding the rears at a track like this, because you know it's going to be the same thing on entry. If he goes a tiny bit past his braking zone, he's going to be in the wall, and that's a real reason why you run the bottom instead of running the 31's line, because you might get in the wall with him if you follow him.
Eric Wineland focusing right now, started in 7th, but has gone basically nowhere tonight. Sizing up Curhan and Kane ahead of him. A lot of focus.
It's intense at a track like this. He'll be going to the bottom of Curhan. I'm sure Curhan's not happy, but it's racing. It's what you do, and Wineland wants to be the one to take a crack at the 31 next. You can see how much that number 31 Toyota Tundra TRD is. It's really hurting everyone behind him. JT Poole, Cameron Hearn are running about 0.2 of a second faster on average per lap.
Dane Therian creeping into the mix as well. Started 11th up to 8th place, and then Scioli and Weishart. Man, you'd have to imagine Weishart's getting real tired of following Scioli in his home events. Just as he did for many laps last night, he's doing the same here tonight.
Yeah, I thought Weishart had it made. He had a pole by 2/10 last night, but Scioli's gonna Scioli, I suppose, and there's not much you can do with him right now. You're at the back of the line. Passing the 7 or trying to pass them does nothing but hurt your tires, because as long as Mason Kane's up there, he got nowhere else to go.
Yeah, the dominant force as far as points go in the Cup Series has been Jake Nichols, but across all 3 series, there has been no one that has been as consistent and racked up as many wins as James Scioli. Past the 1/5 mark of this race. And it is ticking along, 1 yellow flag so far. And Kane, again, pushing up the track. He has made inroads, actually, gained 0.2 on Hearn, as Hearn is losing now touch with the leader, JT Poole.
Yeah, it seemed like Hearn drove hard to get to the 26, and then once he got there, couldn't do anything, and now he's paying the price on his tires as the top 4 drive away, and 5th through about 12th are all in one single file line. Also, speaking of Jake Nichols, I'm pretty sure last night was his first non-top 5 of the season. And it was 10th that he got on a 44 lap tank of fuel.
Yeah, he did a great job saving that fuel. I didn't think he could do it, but he did it. And Travis Beckner has quietly, I mean, he kind of snuck through here, not unnoticed with that slide job on the 31, but he's up to 4th and tracking Elwood down. And last time by, Beckner was just a 10th shy of the leaders. The fastest car of this front group, though, was this 10th.
He's really starting to reel in the 4 just a little bit, but you can see how big of a difference being in that line longer made. He's got a lot of time to make up, about 2 seconds worth, and then it's another second to the leader at this point. So that's how much track position matters. You get one driver not keeping the tires on it, you lose so much time on track, let alone track position.
Smallest scrape of the wall for Beckner last lap by, and we'll see, like we said, that'll happen a lot tonight. JT Poole has put a clinic on him so far and is about to get into some lap traffic. Bobby Tinch up the road.
Just wondering if Curhan's going to be willing to get physical at any point. He's gotten closer and closer to the bumper of that 31 of Mason Kane, but not willing to use it quite yet.
Well, there's deposits and withdrawals in any short track race, and I'm not sure that I'd be depositing much right now, so I can take a little bit more later. focusing on that exit. It's just hard to get a run when the best line is being run by the guy ahead of you.
You can see he's hunting. He wants the right rear. He's trying to get positioning. If he gets on the outside of Mason Kane, the battle's done. But it's just so hard to do that when they are running that line. Got a spin in front of Mason Kane. Looked like Beckner might have been sliding through turn 2. He lost a lot of time.
Oh, he's fighting it too. He is fighting it for sure. Here's a look at it. Yeah, a big drift and into the wall.
Oh, yeah.
For Travis Beckner. Here's another look at it and how it happened. Oh,
Maybe
caught the wall on entry. Yep.
Oh, yeah. Thought it was going to be sending it too hard, but yeah, he tapped the wall and it completely threw him off. But it's again, new damage model will save you from that killing your race, but that's a lot of time to lose. And you can see it looks like he's driven off the rears now.
Yeah, so it's the right rear contact is definitely not a concern at a short track. It's when it
in the wall.
Oh boy, it's when it snaps back to the right front that it can be a bigger deal. But Mason Kane in the wall last time around, and Curhan's finally through, and now Eric Wineland sees opportunity, but he can't yet slide up in front of the 31, and now Shane Therian sizes both of them up.
Aaron's looking for a way to get both of them. Weishart slapped the wall at it too, but he'll continue. The one thing that's going to hurt Wineland here is not having room up to get by the 31, but saying that Curhan clears by a little bit more. And wow, Mason Kane's fighting that thing. He's wiggling even at the start-finish line as there's another driver clear to 31 now. Shane Therian's next in line.
Remember where he started, and he is not really keeping pace, but his fall has been graceful. He hasn't, other than the one scrape, he hasn't really gotten super desperate with it yet. And I don't think you need to. There's still a lot of time left in this race, but it is concerning. They've had a very natural play to this race so far, a lot of green flag running, and the pace just isn't there for Mason Kane. And I don't think he really drove off the tires early in the race either. His fast lap isn't all that quick. It's not the fastest by any means. It was JT Poole that ran the quickest lap of the race, but just very slow downward spiral for Kane.
And if it goes green, it's not something that's going to bode well for him, especially with his fastest lap not being all that quick either. So
it was quick, it just wasn't the quickest.
Oh yeah, but definitely something wrong. Maybe he's cranking the wheel too much or something, because it really seems like, yeah, the rears are going away, but everyone else's is. But it really looks like it's through the center where he really loses out on the drivers that are that extra bit faster than him on this long run. So it's something he's going to need to figure out here if we get another long run.
David Weishart has lost a spot to Justin Munsell. We haven't talked a lot about the 6 yet tonight. Here he is running in 10th place. He started 6th, so he's also had a slightly rearward fall tonight, but again, slow progress in the wrong direction, I suppose.
We did have to slap into a wall at the very beginning of this run, but he's been able to somewhat recover from it, I suppose. He had fallen back because of that, and he lost a spot to Weishart, then got it back, so he's trying to get back through the field.
It's Therian on Mason Kane again, and Scioli sees opportunity.
This is a tough situation because Therian wants to get by, but if he doesn't make it work, he might be going backwards a position or two because of Scioli. But you can see he's getting a much better run, even on the bottom, than Mason Kane. I tried another slider.
Oh, he tried it, but he couldn't complete it. You saw him kind of bail out and wash up the track. And with that, Kane should get a nice run here down the straightaway. Not quite enough to clear. And Shane will drive it in hard into turn 1, boy. Really hard into turn 1.
I'd say too hard.
Yep.
Now is at the mercy of Scioli. Also, Munsell will try to get to the bottom of Scioli, but now Weishart's back to his outside as the 83 chases the Rick South Beach Heat Hot Sauce truck up the track.
And Scioli uses the opportunity to jump to the outside of the 83, and the Hunter becomes the hunted just that fast.
Also a battle for 4th heating up. Beckner is continuing to fall himself.
Weishart, another impact with the wall at the exit of 2.
That's his marker to say, hey, I'm too high on the track. I was going to say the battle for 4th is heating up because Beckner is looking to be struggling maybe even worse than the 31 right now, as Curhan and Wineland have caught up, and Scioli is trying to get Kane, trying to squeeze him a little bit. He can throw it in. If he can throw a controlled slide job here, he can get it done.
Yeah, Scioli, another big lunge on the 31. I think he's going to get it, and he will. So battles happening all over the track right now. Things are heating up. We're 52 laps into this run, 25 away from when we'd expect to see pit stops at that halfway mark and run us all the way to the end. But Beckner and Curhan sliding the rear tires in this battle for fourth.
Darian's going to have another open shot at the 31, but you can see he's just trying to gauge his options. He's looking to be outside in the center of the corner, trying to get to the bottom on entry, trying everything right now to try to get around this 28, and both of them are sliding pretty hard, as Wineland has already said on the radio is kind of going to let them battle. There's contact there out of the corner.
Yeah, you guys gladly just shell each other and all come through and take the whole city when it's done. But Curhan right on that rear bumper. He's tried to turn left, but he lost the rear grip. And now will Wineland pounce on him? No, he will not.
And this battle heats up. Everyone trying to get by Mason Kane, but you battle each other when that happens, trying to pass one driver. So Munsell and Therian are now side by side, and Munsell gets another position back. Now he's next in line to try to get that position away. And
Therian drove it in deep. He almost walled Weishart. Weishart tried to shoot a tiny gap, and it did not work. And then Slaughter Jr. will come on through. Here's a look at what happened here at the exit of turn 3 and 4. Watch the 29 as they head down the back right there. Just tried to sneak up into a hole that was closing.
Yeah, Therian didn't do anything wrong there. Just Weishart trying to, he saw an opportunity and it closes up that quickly at a track this tiny, and Slaughter was able to pounce on that.
Give it everything he had.
No Ross Chastain's here, I would say.
No.
It's a bit too wide.
I don't think it would work so well here. Mason Kane getting roughed up a bit from Justin Munsell, who turns hard left into 3. Look at the focus on Justin's face right now. He is in.
He is locked in. That's how hard it is to make a pass here. And that's how much energy it takes as they almost bang doors out of the corner. Now he'll dive to the bottom to try to get positioning. Throttled up there to try to clear the 31. It's going to be tight, but he made it work. Really good move there.
Instantly see his face relax.
He's got a second ahead of him. He's like, okay, let's just drive now. As a battle for 5th. Wineland, he looks like he's going to try to take it, but he backed out again. Almost looked like he got to the right rear, but didn't give it to him as Scioli taps the wall, but he's really chased these 3 down.
That 7 truck is inevitable. 4 wins in this season. I think it was his fourth of the Cup Series season last night. And 8 in the Florida State Builders Pro Series?
7. Well, one taken away.
Okay. That's 8.
Yeah. Unofficially.
I know what you mean.
It's to Scioli, it's 8. To DWR, it's 8.
He crossed the line in first place 8 times. He has 7 awarded wins this season.
Yes. Go with that.
Darian trying again to the outside of Mason Kane. His last failed attempt lost him 2 spots.
And those guys who ended up passing him are kind of gone right now. As you can see him getting impatient. He got into a... Oh, he's really close to it. He tapped the wall last time by trying to get the 31. Now trying to get really aggressive. As you can see, everyone's out of rear grip. Weishart, Therian, they're all sliding. Beckner is as well. Beckner's almost spinning again. Curhan finally got to his outside.
Battle for 4th. Here comes Curhan in the 24. Always a driver that looks pretty calm, cool, and collected despite the heat of battle here. And he should get this spot away from Beckner, and that will open the door for Eric Wineland.
Curhan was actually the reason he slid in 3. Curhan got to the back of him last time by on entry into turn 3, so that's going to put Beckner in a bad spot to lose a couple more positions here. God, everyone's weaving. That's how much lack of rear grip there is right now.
You just get freight trained. It's like reverse Martinsville here. You get pushed to the outside groove and you just lose one spot after the other. Here comes Scioli, and Scioli gets put in the wall. They just come together there, and the 7 slides up the hill, comes back to the inside now.
It somehow gave him a run out of turn 4 to slap the wall. I think Scioli hit him on entry as well. Beckner was trying to save it, couldn't, but doesn't look for retaliation to his rear bumper. It's another position lost as Munsell has chased them down.
All the while,
meanwhile,
Cameron Hurt, pit lane.
It is a little bit early, lap 62, but it's going to make it work. It's really risky, especially with how aggressive the racing is right now with drivers kind of holding up lines, but he wanted to get the undercut on JT Poole for sure.
Yeah, I mean, from a strategy perspective, I don't hate it. The only challenge is I see our chance for a yellow to be pretty high right now with how much fierce fighting is going on.
Therian really slapped the wall there. Mason Kane slapped it again too. Now Brett Slaughter's by. Now David Weishart's next in line. As you can see, this 31 has been struggling all run.
Yep.
He's in it again.
And he's riding it this time.
We're talking about Ross.
Well, not by choice, I don't think, for the 31.
Definitely not. 3 wide almost, with Cameron Hearn getting by as Beckner and Munsell still fight. They're side by side.
What are the tires worth? That's my question. So the 4 just ran 0.8 of a second faster than JT Poole, and that will pay out a lot at a short track like this.
And that was in traffic. He gets clean air, he'll get even better as he dives under the 7, as Munsell dives past Beckner there.
And Wineland, they're going at it too.
And now you can see as pretty much everyone's past Mason Kane, who got in the wall again. Now you'll see this spread out even more. Instead of having a bunch of packed up lines, now we'll see maybe some more spread out action.
Looks like a dealership here with all the Fords side by side. 4 on the bottom on fresh tires. Eric Wineland is going to complete a pass on Curhan. And his respect earlier has probably paid off as Curhan facilitated that pretty easily, I think. Trucks on pit lane.
Yep, a few more. Not surprised to see Mason Kane here. Tom Bourne comes in as well. So there's 2 more there. Also Travis Beckner, who is another one who was really struggling at the end.
Yeah, so I think we can make it to the end from here, I'm sure, with about 30 minutes of racing to go. It's not like you got infinite fuel, but this is your window to make it to the end. And JT Poole out front, he has just been dominant tonight, Connor. Can anybody take this away from him? I don't really ever love the undercut strategy that Hearn's playing, but is there any way, other than getting a yellow and having a shot at a restart, that people can wrestle this away from JT Poole?
It's going to be hard, too. I think he's going to need things to go wrong for him, as he's not even going to let them get too big of an undercut. He's going to pull down pit right here under the vision of Ricky Bobby, as didn't want him to get too much of an undercut. 7 laps was plenty for the 4 to likely take the lead.
JT on pit lane. And the field will storm on by, nearing halfway at this stage. But almost all the laps so far led by JT Poole.
I think Alan Elwood's going to be the first one to lead a lap that wasn't JT Poole, as he stays out another lap, as is Wineland, Curhan, Scioli. I like the idea of undercutting a little bit. I also don't like not having the freshest tires to the end should this go green. So I do appreciate the strategy Elwood and those guys are having, but we saw how hard it is to pass, and you're going to be stuck behind someone on fresh tires. You better make sure to use them and make passes quickly.
JT leaves pit lane, ends up 2.5 seconds behind Cameron Hearn with an 8-lap tire difference. I am of the opinion we have a lot of laps to run. I think the opposite strategy is the way to go, which Elwood, Wineland, and Curhan are on. I like having more tire towards the end to make moves, and we just got a lot of laps. You're running a lot of laps around here. It's something that works well at long laps that are slow, like Auto Club, where you're not embanking a lot, or repetitive tracks that have a lot of cornering, but you're leaning a lot on the tire, because what you're banking on is the tire's going to wear out quickly relative to how much time you have on that tire to make that overcut strategy work.
Yeah, it is definitely a track where I'd rather go a little longer. I don't want to be on the defensive at a track like this. You saw how stressful it was for Mason Kane and Travis Beckner. It's definitely not a place I want to rely on having to hold people up. So I would much rather be doing what Alan Elwood's doing and going long here. Plus, just the risk of a yellow is always out there. As looks like Elwood might come down the pit lane this time. Yes, he does. So that's 74 full laps. I don't like undercutting and risking getting caught a lap down. We saw that happen at Charlotte and almost ruin a lot of drivers' races. So I like getting the freshest tires to the end.
Elwood on pit lane, leave Eric Wineland out longer. Curhan and Munsell and Scioli and Shane Therian all remain on the racetrack. JT Poole now has Cameron Hearn square in his sights, and these drivers will cycle to be your leaders. So this is effectively the battle for the lead, while it is for 11th currently. Halfway this time by.
Yeah, JT Poole was half a second faster last time by, so while Hearn does get maybe the effective lead, what would be, might be short-lived, and we might see drivers stay out before by the time JT Poole gets past, as the battle for the actual lead is not heating up because Weiland's got a lot of speed on the long run right now, but Justin Munsell is getting by Michael Curhan. Now it looks like Curhan is the one struggling.
Oh, and Scioli getting put middle 3 wide there for a moment, the 28. Travis Beckner, who is on fresh tires, is right behind them and kind of getting held up here. You got to make hay. Well, you've got super fresh tires, and this is not going to help him.
Yeah, there's smoke on the back. Not sure if anyone spun or what, but I am, like you said, I am surprised Beckner's being courteous to them. I understand being safe and not wanting to cause anything, but you do have to make up time when you have the tire advantage. You can't be sitting behind drivers, but he does eventually get the hole, but also here comes Alan Elwood.
Yeah, Elwood is behind him, and with 8-lap fresher tires. But again, we talk about overcut and undercut, pitting before the guy ahead of you, overcut pitting after the guy ahead of you. You're giving up time in the short run to gain it back in the long run. It's been a long run race, and we're 3 wide, but Elwood bails out of that opportunity.
By the way, the smoke we saw in the backstretch that I saw, it was David Weishart spun out of turn 2, but it did not bring out a yellow. So he's lost a lot of time after he pit, I believe, the lap before.
Yep, fresh out of the pits. And that's that pit exit I was talking about, how challenging that can be. When it's so tight to the inside, you've got grass right there. It's only 1 lane wide. So he's lucky to get away with it, but he will lose some time in the process.
Just very shocking. A spin at a track this small doesn't bring out a yellow. He spun right where like the inside wall goes into the track on the backstretch. I'm shocked that wasn't a yellow, but I'm sure he's not going to enjoy that. I was hoping for a yellow, but like you said, he's going to drop way down the order now.
Eric Wineland continues to lead. We're 82 laps in. There are 5 drivers from Wineland back to Therian that have yet to pit. Justin Anasogak he pit earlier in this race, but that was 77 laps ago. That was at that first yellow. And so he is due shortly.
He'll have maybe like a lap or 2 more fuel. I don't believe he took tires that time either, so just a splash of fuel. So just these 6, and he is only about maybe 4 seconds ahead of the battle for what was the effective lead. JT Poole had just gotten by Cameron Hearn, but Hearn's trying to fight back. I don't assume he has much to fight with, though.
No, I think Hearn's got to be focused on all the stuff in the rear view, right? Like that's the stuff that's going to come and get him later, is whoever ends up 3rd in this cycle, which should be Alan Elwood. And Elwood, for reference, last time by ran 0.6 of a second quicker, but he is about 7 seconds behind Cameron Hearn, so a lot of time to make up.
Yeah, a lot of time, and laps will run out somewhat quickly, but you will have around 60 of them as Justin Munsell pits, lap 84, so you assume these top 5 can't go too much longer, but they do all stay out another lap.
Maximizing the tire for that final run. Wineland, Scioli, Curhan, Therian getting the job done. Pretty aggressive strike. Ooh, Mason Kane, I saw him in the background fighting with somebody. That was Scioli. They almost had it coming together, did they not?
Got close, but I think it was calculated.
Oh, boy.
Now, Scioli's starting to get passed by some drivers on older tires. You assume once you start to lose some lap time on old tires because of people passing, you'd want to dive in, but you can see all these drivers just trying to maximize the tire life for the final run. That and maybe just trying to catch a road caution and throw the balance out of the order of this race.
Good battles of the drivers that have come down. This is Josh Taylor, Tom Bourne, Danny Ware, all kind of battling amongst themselves.
I talked about Josh Taylor tonight.
No, but very quietly running. And we'll have to see where he cycles, but he'll gain about 5 or 6 spots. Started in 17th. He's running 13th. He should be top 10 when this thing cycles.
Here comes Wineland and Curhan. So 1st and 3rd come down this time. It's going to put Scioli in the lead for at least 1 more lap. Lap 89. That's how long he's gone in this tank with a yellow.
So he'll pick up another point. Not that he'll need that.
No, he needs plenty. Got to get the stats up there.
Yeah, yeah. I guess that's the battle he's really playing with all the wins he's got. I wouldn't concern it beyond that. So coming up on 60 laps to go, and things are going to wind down pretty quick. We're in the final 25 minutes of this race. So now, if you're Wineland, Curhan, Munsell, you got to go like heck in the final 60 laps. You have to use up every bit of your tires. Everyone else had to pace themselves to the end to keep the tires on their truck. But if you just pit, you've got to use them. That's what the strategy is all about, being on the attack on the offensive side of this strategy. So if you're not prepared to wring the neck of this truck, you're not ready to try this kind of this strategy.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited to see what Scioli, Munsell, and these guys are going to do with fresher rubber than guys like Cameron Hearn and JT Poole to the end. Could be a good strategy, but what's really going to help Hearn and Poole is how much of a gap they got because of passing Mason Kane early. That's really going to make a difference for where they finish in this race.
They're putting themselves in the position, Scioli and Therian are, where they're going to have the best tires of anybody. But the question now becomes, do you have enough time to use them? There's a balance in this. Scioli runs really high. There's a balance. If you wait too long, you're going to run yourself out of time. And you need that time. And it's not something that's extremely clear to you until after you pit. How quickly are you making up that ground? But the longer you wait, the bigger advantage you'll have on those that already pit.
And now looking at these guys, you can see this is how long Scioli stayed out there. JT Poole is only about 4 seconds behind, so definitely got to come in the next. I don't think he can go 10 more laps, but you would assume if he can, he's got to come in the next 10 laps to at least get 50 laps with the fresh rubber. I'd say 40 is too little, as they're going to go through. Oh, they're looking 3 and 4 wide.
Whoa, that was tight. Scioli now has a 25 lap advantage over those that pit on the early part of that run, excluding Cameron Hearn, who pit 30 laps prior. This is getting very interesting.
All these guys on fresher tires not able to get by the 7, so this is also helping Scioli. Not these guys not getting by quickly. It's going to help him in this final run.
JT Poole just passed Shane Therian. Now JT probably thought he was pulling the right strategy, kind of waiting to overcut those behind him, but will he have to face a challenge from one of the drivers that hit much later? Like an Alan Elwood, for example, who pit 6 laps after. That's a fairly sizable advantage. It seems to be paying off pretty well. Still, several tenths a lap quicker is Elwood over Poole, but he's, about 5 seconds back still. But that's doable for Elwood, and then you got guys behind it that are even more extreme than that. Justin Munsell, Eric Wineland, and more. But Eric had not a bad pit stop, but he ended up behind Justin somehow.
And he's also been stuck behind Scioli, who's stayed out the longest. So these guys right now, their strategy is getting killed by getting held up on by Scioli, who's on a different strategy. So these guys have got to go. It almost looked like Wineland wanted to split the middle and thought better of it.
Well, he's getting chased down by Curhan, who he came into pit lane with.
Scioli better not get caught on the top if he runs out of fuel. Also don't want to hit the wall too many times.
Going a lot longer than I thought they would.
Yeah, I thought they would have ran out by now, to be honest.
I figured they could go at least 85 to 95, but now this is pushing what I thought was possible.
I would say 100 has to be the cutoff. Like I said, if you pit around if you can get the 110, I feel like you're giving yourself not enough time, not enough laps to do anything.
That's the concern, I think, for Scioli and Therian now, is I think the tipping point is past where you have enough time to use up your tires, unless he's throwing all the eggs in the wait for the caution come out basket. But in about a lap, JT Poole is going to catch him and make that all for naught.
Just have to see. Also, Anna Sogak is still on the same strategy, and he can go even further on fuel if he wants to. He's still 6th on this strategy until Beckner gets by. Betting
for a yellow isn't a bad strategy at a short track like this. It just seems to be a bad strategy tonight specifically.
Right now, yes. Yeah. If Mason Kane was still ahead of that pack, I would be thinking there's got to be a yellow, but he's been passed, and there's no line forming anymore. So it's really, really spread out right now. So.
It just relieved all the pressure, right? I mean, there was pressure building, and then the cork popped, and then all the what's the word I'm looking for from chemistry class?
We'll get to you on that. Chaos. That's not a chemistry thing.
Yeah, I know. The entropy. Yes.
Oh, you're right.
The entropy
oh
distribute. Look at me harkening back to the days that I got to see.
Unlock the memory of mine.
Yeah.
Ethereum's finally going to come down. Lap 102.
Oh, Skyley's getting himself put in some hard spots here with the intensity of the battles going on in his rear view.
Speaking of that, this is JT Poole for not only the actual lead, but the effective lead. Wonder if he pit now that he's here. He's not going to, but see how hard it passes is for JT Poole. He was only 0.2 of a second faster last time by. This is how hard it is to pass. Skyoli has, what, 70 lap older tires? Or whatever the math is?
Well, yeah, 70, almost exactly 70, 71 lap different tires. But the tires, the fall off does kind of plateau. And it is almost there for JT. He's 33 laps into his run. And looking for the driver that has the freshest tires at the moment, other than Shane Theory, and that's Michael Curhan. But he is 17 seconds back. And that's a long way to make up here in the closing moments. But here comes JT Poole. But not as easy to get by as you might think it is, because the tires have equalized.
And Skyler's not giving him it either. He's trying to battle him. I wonder if he's trying to pull a Jake Nichols, see if he's trying to go 150 laps on the tank. Maybe he's thinking, well, he can do it. But probably not possible. You can see the tires have definitely equalized more than I thought they would. Poole is not able to make this pass easily at all.
Well, and Skyler's not helping him either. He's taking that outside lane and definitely making it difficult on purpose. Maybe still holding out for a yellow. He might just get one as we get closer to the end of this race and the battles kind of reformulate.
Don't want to be the yellow, though.
No. Even if he comes out in second, remember where he was? 13th is where he started, and he hadn't made up a lot of ground. But this is still a track position play, I think.
You see, if I was about to say, is he going to make the move down to pit road? And yes, he does. Not surprising at all.
Yep.
I'm so interested to see how much further they could have gone, because, well, Inesogac's going to stay out more, so see how long he can go.
30 laps past the halfway point, and just over 40 laps to go.
Just hope he gave himself enough time to make some spots up.
He's buried himself pretty deep with that strategy. He might even go a lap down here.
Oh, I think he will definitely go a lap down.
Yeah.
Because he was, JT Poole just went by there.
Yeah. So then you have to unlap yourself and then drive a whole other way. He's going to be a lap and a half down. I mean, that's a tall task, even for a 40 lap difference in tires. Even for Wineland and Curhan. Sorry, Connor.
Yeah, even for them. But now the focus is going to shift to the guys who pit maybe not too far after the leaders, but did overcut, like Alan Elwood, who has cut that gap to JT Poole to under 4 seconds.
Yeah, that was the sweet spot, I thought, but keeping my eye on the lap times. I know he's in traffic still, but not going that much faster, if faster at all.
That was for position. That is for second. Gets by Cameron Hearn. So we'll see if it's too equalized too much for him to do anything. One thing that definitely helped him was having Skyoli battle him that hard. That definitely made a difference in the amount of time he gained.
JT has been in dominant fashion tonight. Here's Eric Wineland, who is on 20 lap fresher tires than the leaders, and up into 8th place. Now remember where he was. He was in 7th when this whole strategy conundrum began. So if he can finish 6th or better, I would call this a wild success, and he is by far going to get there, and probably a top 5. So this strategy is going to be a win for Wineland, even if he doesn't make it all the way to the front. I'd say he'll easily have Inesogak and Munsell. Well, I guess Munsell's on a pretty similar strategy, but Brad Slaughter Jr., Beckner, and especially Cameron Hearn are all on their back foot here. So not even a podium is out of the question, I'd think. For Wineland, it's just that last sprint to get to Elwood and Poole will be the biggest challenge of all.
Yeah, as the tires equalize, that's going to be especially difficult to get to those top 3. But he should get the Beckner. I know Beckner's going to be pretty hard to pass, as we've seen in the past with his tire wear as well. But definitely looking at the 21 right now.
Race fans, be sure to visit simwrapmarket.com for custom iRacing paint scheme templates that are simple to use and help you stay more focused on the racetrack. And race fans, be sure to check out rickshotsauce.com for some of the best hot sauces made locally in South Florida. Try the Loxahatchee Classic, Golden Garlic, Palm Beach Pineapple, or South Beach Heat. Follow the Rick's Hot Sauce Rookie of the Year battle in the Area Cup Series and see which driver will take home the $100 prize as the highest finishing rookie in the point standings. Well, about 35 laps to go here from IRP in the Area Truck Series, the penultimate round of the regular season, and playoff implications, Connor. What does this mean so far? JT Poole leading the way in pretty dominant form as far as his run so far this season. He is down in 16th. If he wins, that shifts this cut line pretty massively, and that's a big consideration for those heading into Talladega below that line or even on it.
It's not going to be good news for Justin Munsell, Michael Curhan, Eric Weiland. Those are the guys around the cut line coming into tonight. Munsell was the one who was on it. He would be the one shifting backwards, especially with not being able to outpoint Eric Weiland most likely. But Michael Curhan's really not going to like this either, and it's going to put Bryce Senesac even closer to that cut line as well. So not what these drivers want to see. They never want to see someone below the cut line dominating a race right before the cut like this. But this is what we talked about, drivers who can make a claim for their playoff chances tonight, and they're doing it right now. Not JT Poole's trying to do it right now, not wanting to leave it up to Dega.
And no Bryce Senesac tonight either. So that is going to hurt in his run. Garrett Grant finally just hit pit lane. 117 laps. He had not yet pit.
By the way, JT Poole doesn't have enough starts to make the playoffs, so never mind.
Dang it.
Yeah, I didn't think of that either.
How many do you have? 10?
He's missed 3 races, which is too much.
Oh.
So he hasn't won an area yet, though, so still be a first.
He has not won an area yet at all?
Per Jacob Bell. Argue with Jacob, not me.
Wow. That's crazy.
You have to start 10 out of 12.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair.
Season.
That's so close, though. Oh, man.
My sweet spot would be 75%.
Oh, he won the All-Star Open. That's why I was thinking he'd won something before. But he's been running so well this season.
Ed Robertson was my All-Star Open winner after that crazy finish.
Alan Elwood not tracking down JT Poole, so that is a 6-lap tire advantage that is effectively out, no longer being utilized to move forward. Cameron Hearn's laps are obviously slower. Travis Beckner is marginally quicker than the leader, but it's not consistent, and his laps are actually older than his tires, I should say, older than Poole's. Justin Munsell, though, still making headway, 0.3 a lap, but Eric Wineland making 2 or 3 a lap as well. And the 6 and the 21. Now, Wineland's back to where he started with Brad Slaughter Jr. just ahead of him. By the way, Brad Slaughter, we should point out, started 10th, wasn't really a factor at all. And now we're running 6th. Not bad.
Yeah, he was one of those guys who's not only stuck by Mason Kane, but he was just stuck in that line in general, not able to make up positions. But he's definitely utilized the strategy to his advantage, and he's looking for a solid finish for sure. Wineland's not too much faster. Curhan, same thing, and Mason Kane's in 9th. He's fallen off, but considering where he had fallen back to, 9th would not be too bad for Mason Kane. Also, Danny Ware is in 10th, which is not bad for himself either, as we had talked about him since his contact with Philip York. He was one who hit maybe 10 laps after JT Poole.
Yeah, about 6 laps, 47 laps ago to JT Poole's 53 laps ago. Danny Ware started 18th. Up to 10th, though, this would be a good solid way to finish out the night. And he's one of the drivers that is not on the oldest tires, but not on the newest, so he should kind of stay put. I guess the question, he's going to lose a spot to Scioli, though, because Scioli is just about 4 seconds back, but with 30 lap fresher tires to boot. So 25 laps to go next time by. JT leads the way. And I just didn't know that he had not won a race in area yet, so this will be a big night for him. 4 second-place finishes in area competition. He's been so close so many times.
One of those were to me. I don't know if that helps or hurts. But he almost got me over. That was a fun battle I had with him. He's had speed to win. I've seen it all season, especially in Cup. It is kind of surprising that he hasn't been able to close the deal, but this is definitely a night where something's going to have to be catastrophic for him not to win it. He's very comfortable right now. As you said, that advantage rail was gone. He lost a second since I saw him 4 seconds back. And I think a lot of that was James Scioli just kind of holding the 26 back. Because speaking of Scioli, he has unlapped himself, and he is up into 11th.
Cameron Hearn about to lose a podium spot to the 28 of Travis Beckner. About a 5-lap tire difference between these two, but I think Beckner's been a little kinder to his good years over the course of this run, and that's allowed him to reel in the 4 of Cameron Hearn. Travis's night, if he could get a 3rd or better, this would be a phenomenal run for him, but he's going to have to worry about Justin Munsell quickly approaching and that number 6 in the background.
It would be an incredible turnaround. We saw at the end of the first stint on tires how much of a struggle he was having to keep a handle on that truck, and it seems he's done the complete opposite this run. He's keeping tire life in it close to the end, coming to 20 laps to go. So really solid turnaround, but it's going to get a lot tougher now as the tires equalize. It's going to be a tough pass to make. There's another tough pass to make. Is Wineland trying to get by the 8 of Brad Slaughter Jr. It's truck champion. He's trying to pass. Hard to do it on the bottom, but you got nowhere else to go.
Got Curhan on his rear bumper as well. These two have kind of come up through the field together. They've been nose to tail for most of the time. So Wineland is going to complete this pass. Curhan is going to get stuck alongside Brad Slaughter for a little while longer. 20 laps to go next time by as Beckner is now on the tailpipes of Hearn. And he's got to go because Munsell's coming, but this almost might be a futile fight to fight for Travis on the 6 of Munsell. He might as well just let him go, but we know that that's not really Beckner's style either.
It's kind of the same situation as the battle for 7th because Slaughter and Curhan and I'm trying to remember who I was talking about. Wineland and Curhan need to go, but also James Scioli is almost about 7 seconds back. Maybe he'll get there as he is closing in really fast.
Beckner was balancing the truck on throttle leaving turn 2. Had about 3 degrees of yaw in it, trying to get that run off the corner, but it just wasn't finding purchase in longitudinal grip leaving the turn.
In my opinion, this is the time to get physical. You're down 20 to go. You know, the battle we are in is the battle to the end. This is when you try to maybe get that bumper onto that rear, get the front bumper onto the rear bumper just a tiny bit. I think now's the time to do it if you're going to do it.
Yeah, Beckner's locked, but Munsell is not. And Munsell could use that opportunity, but he's a long ways back, still 6 seconds behind JT Poole. Bobble there from the 28. Munsell should get on by here, but Justin's the one that really needs to go because a win would lock him in. You don't want to go to Talladega needing to do it there, and he might be in that. Oh, that was tight as they leave turn 4.
He forced Beckner to lift there. He was going to wreck or Beckner was going to lift, and 28 chose the latter as there was contact out of 2 as well, and Munsell forced the issue. Beckner was down the track a little bit, though.
Yeah, just had to lift, or they weren't going to come out in one piece. So Beckner gives it up, drops to 5th. But now the assault from the 28 is now transferred to the 6 of Munsell as he heads down into turn 1 on the inside of the 4 of Cameron Hearn. And maybe Beckner will use this opportunity to finally complete that pass.
He's not staying close enough to do so as Munsell battles the 4 of Cameron Hearn. James Scioli's worked his way into the top 10, getting by Danny Ware.
Oh, they're going to touch. Munsell slides, and he's going to slide to the apron and save it, but that is going to set him back a little ways.
I'm sure Travis Beckner likes to see that. Just got a little too deep into 3 here, I believe. You see he sent it hard, slipped up the track into Hearn, and Hearn was trying to save it. They made contact again. Munsell did a good job keeping the nose clean on that one, but now it goes from a battle for 3rd to trying to fend off Eric Wineland on fresher tires for 6th.
He did not need that setback for sure. I don't know if Wineland would have gotten there without a little bit of assistance, but with that slide, it has put Munsell now on the chopping block for losing a top 5 in a critical moment in his championship fight.
It gives Beckner another opportunity to just fight Cameron Hearn straight up instead of having to deal with the 6 machine.
Nose to tail, it is just ever so close. Beckner's kind of yawing those rear tires out again. He might be burning them up in this attempt to get on by, but what choice does he have? He's running out of laps.
Yeah, he really doesn't. There's no reason to not use them now in the last 20 laps. Got to go at this point. So tire savings completely out the window. same situation Curran was in last night with fresher tires than everyone else to the very end. But pretty much everyone's times from 3rd to 8th have kind of equaled out at this point.
Yeah, so what was the magic number? It wasn't Elwood's. I think it was somewhere between Elwood's and Munsell and Wineland. I think he needed a bit more track position like Elwood, but maybe the slightly larger advantage that Wineland and Curhan and Munsell got. But nobody really got the magic formula to get and pass JT Poole, and I think part of that was due to the lead Poole already had.
Yeah, that's why getting track position was so important, and especially getting by Mason Kane. I know I've said his name a lot, but it was really the difference. Poole and Hearn were able to get such a big lead over the rest of the field by getting by him early that it didn't really matter what strategy was had. They were able to stay in the top 3 and dominate this race because of getting by early and not waiting.
10 laps to go. And what fights were left are going to re-engage because there's no more catching the leader. Poole's 5 seconds clear. It is now just all hands on deck brawl. And now the fear for JT Poole is now having to fend off drivers in a yellow flag scenario, because if the yellow flag comes out, I don't know if you pit or not. I mean, tires are worth something, but track position's so important.
We have 12 drivers on the lead lap right now, so it'd be hard to stay out, but it'd also be hard to pit because you don't know if we're going to get a yellow. At this point, we'd almost be in green-white checkered territory, and the yellow ends it, so that'd be a rough decision. Yeah. Let's not get there.
Keep it green. Here comes Munsell. Big send on Travis Beckner to redo the pass. Now Beckner has Wineland on the tailpipes because Munsell dragged Wineland back up with him. I thought Eric was going to get by Justin Munsell, but he didn't have the pace to complete the job, so he stays in behind the 6 and now behind the 28. So this is now a 4-horse race for 3rd place as Cameron Hearn is just up the road. And he's done a great job on defense. He's got the oldest tires of anybody in the field right now and doing an excellent job hanging on.
He's really been one that's benefited because of the equalization of these tires as well. He's really not really worse off than anyone else behind him or ahead of him right now. So he's doing a solid job. He's even reeling in Alan Owood the last few laps. Won't get there, but he's done a really good job managing.
Yeah, I'm just really impressed with Hearn. I thought for sure he'd be a sitting duck, and he was to the leader, and he was to 2nd. But it's all kind of equalizing at the right time. So as far as strategy goes, we talked about undercut versus overcut. Cameron Hearn's kind of looking like a genius right now.
Yeah, we just thought there would be enough fall off to the point where it would hurt, but that wasn't the case. The undercut was definitely the move because A, how hard it is to pass, and B, the tire fall off just kind of equalizes and it doesn't keep going slower. So definitely think Cameron Hearn was the one who realized that more than anyone else, and he's able to make it work right now. But now it's going to be a little tougher to fend the 6 off for the last 3.5 laps.
Yeah, he's only got 3 laps left to hang on, and it's going to be tough.
Oh, spin, turn 4, Bronson Stafford. I don't think it's going to bring out a yellow, though. I was getting worried there. Oh, my gosh.
This could, though. Wineland to the inside of Beckner, and Curhan watching on from behind.
JT Poole's in turn 3, just trying to hustle to the line.
The 28 sideways. Huge moment for the 28 of Beckner. He clings to it, and we stay green.
And Munsell at the same point had a slide. Now they're banging doors. This is when you start using that right side door at the end of this race. Got to get aggressive, and Wineland's doing so. Now Munsell's going to try to do the same thing.
JT Poole waiting for that white flag to declare safety on his race. Still side by side for position.
Oh man, that was
Tank
close.
slapping, but they're not going to cause a yellow before JT Poole. Did he get the white? Yes, there's the white flag. Wineland almost clear. Beckner he's in the wall now. The 24 dives to the inside. He wants a spot as well, but JT Poole has not yet gotten a win in area, but that drought ends tonight. 4 second places turns into a win, and JT Poole outlasts everybody and gets it done. And the battles behind him are fierce. Elwood 2nd, Hearn clings to 3rd, but for how much longer? Munsell so close, and then Beckner beats Curhan. Wow, that was a great battle all the way to the end.
Oh, that was awesome. My heart was in my throat. I thought they were going to crash, but they did a great job keeping it clean. Scioli got back to 9th. Therian got to 12th. That was incredible.
I can't comprehend that this young driver had not yet claimed one in area. It just felt obvious to me, but it was not. And tonight he will celebrate. And while this win will not count for those playoffs, as we mentioned, missed one too many races to make it into the playoffs. A strong performance and could be a real upset in the playoffs if he's up there battling every week, stealing wins from those that are in it.
Definitely going to be playoff spoiler if he runs the playoff races, because he's got the speed to do it, and especially at the short tracks that we have in the playoffs.
He's got the wheel pulled off.
Nice.
Doing a burnout, Kyle Larson style.
I love how every movement he makes moves the camera. He's got that's his trophy he won for this race, by the way. Totally.
Really cool stuff. Getting that wheel re-indexed, or trying to get it re-indexed as he's burning it down. Let's have a look at our race results here for IRP. JT Poole gets it done at IRP. Elwood, a strong run, second place for the number 10. That will be helpful in the points. Cameron Hearn outlasts and battles Munsell to the line for third place and gets to keep it. So that's a very strong run for Hearn.
And they are key points for her. We talked about he's just above that 20th place cut line for him to be able to use that win for the playoffs. And those are big points, because if he drops out of top 20, once again, he doesn't use that win. So big run for him tonight.
And looking down the rest of the order there, Scioli ninth. That late drive moved him up a couple spots from where he would have been running, but just not far enough. Curhan, Beckner, and Wineland never got to finish their battles, but Eric, top 5 for the 21. Mason Kane salvaged a 10th. If the race hadn't had that strategy component, he might have gone further back. Shane Therian 12th, Tom Bourne 13th. Not a great run for the 16. He had a good run going, but the strategy didn't quite play to his favor. David Weishart, disappointing night after the strong run he had at the Big Oval last night.
Yeah, and after that spin under green didn't produce a yellow, he recovered to a top 15, surprisingly, but that was it. Justin Asogak, another one of those drivers with a win, but close to that top 20 bubble. This is not the run he needed going into Talladega. We'll have to see where the points shake out and if he has a gap over 20th or not. That was a tough run for him. And you see the final two finishers, Phil Bjork, Braden Goddard, really didn't get started tonight.
Well, one of the drivers that pulled the strategy, we were talking about it all race long, undercut versus overcut, come in early or come in late. Cameron, you tried a pretty bold strategy. You had the oldest tires of anybody on track for the last 87 laps of this race. Big, bold strategy to come in early to try to beat JT Poole. Well, you lost the lead to JT Poole and second to Elwood, but you clung to the spot that you were basically running in before the pit stop, and you salvaged a third as the tires equalized. That was well-timed, well-played strategy, and a really strong points night. Take us through your evening and that bold strategy call to come in so early.
Yeah, I felt like I was fast in the short run, and throughout the first run before the green flag pit stops, I was actually really tight entry and mid corner and kind of loose off, or everybody was kind of loose everywhere. So I was losing time with tightness the first run. And I think that with lap traffic, I came in the middle of the pack and people were really slow, and I was passing cars like almost on the apron, which is where you don't want to be at this track. So I really didn't get the lead that I really needed to have even have a chance of holding him off. I was hoping and praying that the tires would equalize, and luckily they did. And I was just able to hold off for top 3. I'm so close to that cut line. Justin Munsell raced me really hard, really clean, so I appreciate that. He could have dove it in there last corner and taken me out if he wanted to, but I appreciate him racing me hard. But every point is huge, especially going to Talladega next week. So top 3 is what we need.
Yeah, Talladega next week. Let's talk about it. I don't think anybody wants to go in there having to do much of anything other than kind of relax and try to go for a win. But next week, it's a big week for a lot of drivers. And how do you size up and prepare for an event where you might have to have something on the docket to complete, and that might be a mission that might be challenging with trucks tumbling and turning next week?
Yeah, it's a weird situation to be in because you want to be up front, but sometimes the wrecks seem to happen at the very front. But you don't want to lose the draft, right? You know, the huge pack with these trucks, low horsepower. You want to be in the pack. So my thing is to be up front the first couple rows. And that way, if there is a wreck, say I'm in it, maybe everybody else is in it too, right? So this run up front, use my teammates. We've worked there well in the past 4 Sugar Plate track, so I'm just looking forward to it.
Well, Cameron Hearn brings it home, third place tonight, the Fazekas Motorsports number 4 F-150. Cameron, congrats. We'll see you next week at Talladega. Best of luck.
I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to second place, quiet evening for Alan Elwood, just playing the strategy. Pit after Cameron Hearn, but before JT Poole, or vice versa. And as you come home in second place, good strong points tonight, Alan, but I know winning would have been a little bit better, a little bit more fulfilling. Happy with tonight, or wish you could have been 7 seconds better and 1 spot higher on the podium?
Sure. I wish I could have been a little bit higher, but at the same time, I'm taking it week by week. I'm still, believe it or not, I'm learning to still drive this truck. Coming from the Xfinity Series for 3 seasons or whatever it was, my mind is still ingrained with how to drive that car. And winning this race in the Xfinity Series last season was trying to figure out, how to drive this truck if it was going to be the same, and it turned out to be a little bit different. So I don't think I had anything long run wise to match JT. Kudos to him. He beat us all in the long run. But all in all, I had fun. I'm glad that we got a lot of green laps tonight. And I'd say tonight's pretty successful for the point situation to hopefully get us locked to. We don't have to worry about anything next week.
That's the goal. Alan Elwood, second place tonight in the number 10 Chevrolet Silverado. We'll see you in Alabama next week.
Sounds good.
And the winner of tonight's race, I was shocked when I learned of the statistic that you hadn't yet won an area, but JT Poole brings home a points-paying win at IRP. And while it's not going to count for the playoffs because you missed one too many races, that pains me to say, you get it done here in dominant fashion. 150 laps, you led 115, JT. That's got to feel great.
Yeah, I don't know. We've been so close so many times. I think I've gotten second 4 times and third 3 times. So I hate losing, and so to finally win, it was pretty cool. This is a really fun track. I usually hate these like kind of momentum tracks like New Hampshire. I don't like that track, but this is so much fun. I'm helping build for Nexus for Road to Pro round 2, so learned a lot here that I can help bring to them. So oh man, I'm so happy I finally won. I was getting so frustrated, and I'm like super mad that I'm not playoff eligible either. But
so are we.
I don't know.
Yeah. You screwed up there, bud.
I know. If I didn't run too many real life races, I probably would be in the playoffs right now. But whatever. Who cares? I'd rather run in real life, but this is a lot of fun. I'm going to race like hell next week at Dega because I'm not playoff eligible, so I'm just going to go for a win every week.
Well, we were told about your trophy last night. Tell us what's in the background there and why that's so special.
This is one of my 4 legend wins at Sunny South. We're working on some more. We're going to Cordell in 2 weeks. So, hopefully we can add some more by the end of the year. If you want to support me, I have a website now, and I also have these shirts for sale. jtpooleracing.com. I think they're $25 right now, but I'm trying to find like a different kind of shirt to make it cheaper. So if you want to go support me and help me travel and do other kind of racing stuff, it'd be very much appreciated.
What's the
Can you put
website?
one on Ricky Bobby?
That's a great idea, Connor. I really appreciate that. I don't know if Ricky Bobby might be like a quadruple XL here, but we'll make it work.
What's the website for people to go to?
jtpooleracing.com. I just bought the domain, so I think it works.
Okay.
If I'm gonna promote it, but that website should work. There's like 4 shirts. It's just this in different colors.
It does work. By the way,
I
checked.
Awesome. I make like $4 off of every shirt. So if you help me, that's $4 that I can use to go travel and maintain my race car, because it's hard to keep up with those big teams all by yourself. Kind of sucks, but it's very much appreciated if you help me in any way.
JT, driving Legends cars, making some legends here in the Truck Series. Great job tonight. I just also noticed the left front where it says Goodyear just says, ooh, yeah.
Yeah, I've had it all year. I'm hoping the broadcast has seen it by now,
No.
and I'm so glad he finally noticed. That's awesome. Thank you.
I just noticed it because we got this up-close shot of your truck as we celebrate your win.
It's on the Cup car, too.
All right, we'll get a good look at it next week at Talladega. JT, congratulations. Celebrate this one, and we'll see you around. Nice work.
Thank you.
All righty, have a good one.
You too.
All right, Connor, wrapping things up here from IRP. What a great race tonight. Lots of green flag running, lots of strategy playing out, much like last night. We're on a good roll, but we're not quite done racing in Indiana yet this week. We have, of course, the Florida State Builders Pro Series on Thursday night, where we head back to the Big Oval. That will wrap up our week of racing before we head to Talladega, Alabama, to the biggest track on the calendar and do battle one final time in the regular season.
Yeah, and there's going to be a lot of anxious drivers once we get to Talladega, trying to see if the points are updated. They are. I believe this puts Ricky Harden on the bubble, because Ricky Harden was another driver who wasn't here tonight. I believe, I might be wrong, but he's going to be close to the bubble one way or another. And Justin Sogak, while he did not have a great day, he is still above that 20th place threshold by a decent margin, so he should be good, but there's still going to be a lot of anxious drivers on the cut line and just outside the top 20 in playoff contention who are going to have to do a lot at Talladega. And Talladega is a track you don't really control your own destiny, especially with how packed up the trucks can be, so you better hope to have a lot of friends to try to get you to the front by the race end.
Well, sometimes in racing, you'd rather be lucky than good, and next week you're going to need some luck. I don't think that being good is going to get you very far when it comes to dodging wrecks and climbing 33 degrees of banking. Talladega, Alabama next week for the Area Truck Series. I'm Kyle Heyer with Connor Horn. We'll see you Thursday for the Area Florida State Builders Pro Series back at the Brickyard for their 11th round of the season as we trudge towards the playoffs and crown a champion at the end of the season. We'll see you next week, and we'll also see you Thursday night for more racing at the Brickyard.